some of our best times are in the car.
Totally.
And especially like when the kids fall asleep in the car. Makeout sessions. Kids fall asleep in the car.
That hasn't happened before.
All right, welcome into the Daily Grind, another episode with Anna and Cooper Kupp. Here we are at this table, and today we get to talk a little bit about a very special night, date night. Date night? Date night is a favorite night because we get to go to really good restaurants and eat really good food, and we get a little bit of time together.
Mm-hmm. Just get to spend some quality time, get to have some good conversation, and just know that the kids are happy, safely tucked into their little beds. We usually try and wait until they're it's usually a little bit later, which, it's
a challenge because it is like you get back and we're usually sitting down at the restaurant when we're usually getting ready for bed.
Yes.
So that part does become difficult, but it is something that I cherish. And even I would say this, and maybe we'll get into this, but like there's date nights that we have. Always growth that comes out of it. Always growth,
yes.
Right? Like even if you think back to 2017. Nope, 2018 season. So it's 2018. It was the off season of 2018. Heading into 2019, we have probably our worst date night by standards of human beings that you could possibly have, right? We're at one of our favorite restaurants, coursing menu, tasting menu. We ended up getting into a discussion that is very serious, and they just keep piling up food for the tasting because we're not eating it because we're talking, and eventually we just see like, you guys just need to box all this stuff up. And it was probably the worst case scenario. We're really diving into something that's just, again, we're just not clicking on something. We can't get through to this place, and we end up leaving there. And from halfway through that meal until the next day, before we talked again, drove all the way home together. And that is the only time we've done that. And it will be the last time that we do that. We have this discussion the next day. I go to work. When we're not right, I don't function well. All I'm thinking about is getting back on the same page with you.
Yeah.
So I'm at work and I'm not being productive in any capacity. It's the off season. I'm going through rehab. I've got the ACL thing. I'm going through the ACL rehab in March. And I'm like, I just need to get home so I can talk to Anna and we can get through this. And the time that I'm gone, we've got June, the baby at home, and you are also searching for answers. And you found a book, essentially, that talked just about how we receive and give love.
Yes.
And connect.
Yeah, no, this book was just sitting on our shelf. Someone had given it to us years before. And it was just one of those things where the light's shining in through the window on this book. And it's these are where all of your answers lie. And obviously it's not the answers to everything in life, but it was a very eye-opening piece to just what we were currently walking through.
What we were just going through.
Yes.
And then being able to get to the place where we both know both of us just want the same thing. We want to get back on the same page.
Yeah.
We want to get through this thing together so we can get to the other side and move forward and keep growing. We come home and it was just such an incredible thing to walk through that with you, and that next day of just the conversations that came out of it and finding
that were hard.
Really hard conversations, and also both of us really introspectively,
yes.
Who are we and how, this is coming up because we both have foundational differences in how we do things and how we perceive what is happening. Why is that happening? Why are we thinking this way? And then once we can get to that page and I can understand why you are seeing it this way and why I am seeing it my way, now we can connect.
Yes.
And now we can figure that out.
And have foundational truths that are not just perception, but like, okay, no, this is maybe actually the reality, and being able to come to that conclusion together.
Yes. And I think back on that argument, discussion, and I'm just so thankful for us to be able to grow from what that was. All this to say, we get back to date night. Date nights for us oftentimes are, they're a special night because usually it's like, hey, we have not been able to connect with each other. We need to get set up a night for us to be able to get back together. And I'd be curious if this happens to other people, but when we're not connecting and we're not in that place, and there have been things that have come up, we just haven't been able to talk about things, and they build, and there's like things just continue are just not quite there.
Yeah.
Those moments, those date nights are the first time we can sit down and really like get into a conversation and talk. And there have been a lot of times where our date nights turn into really difficult conversations. Not that they're fights always, like per se, but like they are difficult discussions on how we want to navigate things in our marriage, with our boys, with our family.
Yeah, or just talking about how we're not connecting.
Yes.
And having having feelings heard and being able to actually connect and talk and, express whatever emotions that we're walking through,
Yeah. But I would be curious if there other people have experienced that. If, does date night become fight night for other people?
Yeah.
Here. And, I think something that's happened, what we've tried to kind of work through this, because you want date night to be a cherished thing, something you look forward to, because you get to connect, because you get to have that time together. And it shouldn't be something that shouldn't be the only time that's set aside for us to be able to have those conversations.
Yes.
And
no, date night truly should be, yes, you get to have, deeper conversations, but also you get to like enjoy each other and laugh and just enjoy your food together and just like really have a beautiful evening together and just relish in each other's company, and I think that for a while we were getting into that pattern of, okay, this is just, we're going straight into how we're not connecting. And then we're both getting frustrated with each other because we're not connecting. And then you don't cherish the time together. And it's not a dinner that, is just enjoyable and together. It becomes you start going your own. And then you're like, okay, I just want to go home. Let's just go home and we'll talk about it at home, and it takes away from the evening that you wanted to have together.
To have a special time together.
Yeah.
And, I think that's, as we've gone through, it's like, man, the importance of being able to find time in the course of a week and say, hey, look, like, wherever it's retired or whatever's going on, it's like, we need to connect. We need to have some time together. We need to be able to have some talks, like be able to work through some stuff and not let things linger. And also just be able to say, hey, when we're not connecting together, when we're not connecting and things have been frantic, it's okay. Well, things need to get cut out. Then, like we need to take a step back here and say, how can we get back together and be able to make sure that we are right? Because if we are not right, things all the way through the house, all the way through the family, it's just going to trickle through.
Yeah, and I think that when you do realize that there's a pattern happening, maybe being able to see, okay, what take the step back, like you're saying. Maybe before you cut stuff out and say, okay, what's the root of this? Why is this happening? Instead of just like, oh, well, like every time we go out, we're just going to fight. So I don't want to go out anymore. Yeah. Like, let's just not do stuff and say like, okay, well, where's the issue actually stemming from? And let's figure that out first so that it doesn't continue to happen. Yeah. And also just saying, hey, every time we go out, we fight. Why? Being able to walk through that together and look at your partner in the eyes and say like, what's up?
What is this? And by cut things out, I'm saying like, I was trying to say,
totally. Like, excess stuff in your life. That's just like putting,
that's just taking you guys, like things you guys have to do that's taking you guys away from each other to not be able to have that time.
If you are able to just talk about stuff before you get to is cutting stuff out the issue.
And my thought is more like, hey,
if you can't
connect. If you guys aren't able to find time to have a conversation, don't.
then
I'm just saying, don't
something needs to give.
something needs to cut. Like, don't just reserve date night for these conversations, because you want that to be something you cherish, something that's keep that special.
Yeah.
And not to say you can't have good, serious conversations on date night, but it's still supposed to be a cherished time. Because like I said at the beginning, there's not been a date night that hasn't still come from growth. Like we've still had growth through stuff, and some hard, like there's date nights I would like not like to do again from like how it like feels like going through this like a really hard thing. Like I don't want to be in that place, but coming out of it, there's so much growth, so much that we move forward through. It's like, I'm glad we did it. I wouldn't like to do it again, but I'm glad we did this to be able to come out on the other side of it.
And I think that just kind of comes back to the idea of being able to connect with your person every single day.
Every day.
You know, like you need to have connection. And sometimes, okay, there's travel. There are some things that maybe are going to inhibit that, you know, certain days. But being intentional with the time that you are given and being able to have communication, to walk through things that, you know, you are feeling and not reserving them for times that are, you know, deemed as special, and having that connection daily.
And you know, I do such a poor job of, I think I'm getting better about looking forward and anticipating what is going to be happening in the course of a day, and be able to say, hey, look, I get so entrenched, I think, in what my day looks like, of saying, hey, what does your day look like? And what does our day look like now together? And, you know, we were able to move to this place now. I feel like it's a daily conversation before we go to bed. What does the next day look like? How is that? Like, what's that? How are we going to operate? What are the logistics of it? And I think, you know, a lot of people are in that place where you might be in a place where, you know, during the season, I am going to give you a kiss goodbye when you're probably like just getting up, and I'm not going to see you again until dinner, and there's maybe after dinner. And it's like, that's a tough place to live in. There's not a whole lot of time for connection. But when you are able to have these conversations and anticipate what is ahead, it's finding those, it can be little things. I mean, I wish I did a better job of this, but like leaving you a note on the kitchen counter before I leave, you know, just leaving something like, I'm thinking about you, you know, praying for you today, and, you know, can't wait to be back home. You know, like those kind of things go so far, and just the intention behind you knowing that I'm thinking about you, and just a little reminder of how I feel about you, and, you know, the importance that the importance that you guys hold in my life. And those little things like that can go so far, that I think, you know, as I think men, we're probably less prone to think about those kinds of things and be able to get out of our own heads, I think, a little bit, and be able to get out there and like, how can we like be interactive with your family and be a part of this? Just because you're gone, your family is living a life, you know, and trying to be a part of that even when you're gone, I think is something I certainly want to be better at, and, you know, try to make a point of. But
yeah, I mean, those things do go a long way, and they are felt, you know, by me, and I love when you do stuff like that.
Doesn't take the place of true connection and being able to just like sit there and be together, but
it's not feasible.
Oh yeah, it's not possible.
Times,
but yeah, I'm just saying, don't just start writing letters to your wife and never talking to her, because I could see someone saying, well, Cooper said, and just write you notes.
So when we aren't getting all of that time to connect during the season, you know, and there is like smaller outlets, like how does date night look during the season? And, you know, when we maybe do have to have harder conversations, you know, reserved for the time where it's like, okay, no, this is our time, you know.
I think what we've talked about, the balance of football, and, you know, early on it was football season was in, it was like all the time, football. But the last 2 years, I say for the last 4, like Tuesday is not a day for football. I might have to do a recovery thing, or like move my body in some capacity to like recover. But I'm not watching film. I'm not taking anything. I'm here. I want to be here. I want to have like time with you and with the boys. Yeah. And Tuesday's not always the best date night, because like practice is Wednesday, right? So it's like we try to do like Monday nights or like a Friday night kind of date night thing.
Or date mornings
on Tuesdays. which have been great. Like trying to find ways to just, how can we just get some time together?
Yeah.
And date mornings are special. I'm a big fan of date mornings. More people need to try to find a way to do date mornings. Work, I know, it's tough, but you can find a way. Work later. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Get home, dinner with the family. But if you could find a way to do some date mornings, they're pretty special. And I do think that during the season, date night is, like you're talking about, connection is so important, and finding the ways to connect. For us, that is a lot of times at night when I'm get back from work, or those times we spend on Tuesdays, or a little bit of time we have Monday nights. Like I do feel like during the season, there's almost, because there is less time for whatever reason, there's like less time. It just becomes that much more important, so much more on our minds. Like, I want to trap my time with Anna. I want to be with, and that's ultimately intrinsically, it's like, I want to be with you. I want to be with my wife, and who is my best friend that I get to go through life with. I want to be there. And so it's like, man, I lost all this time. I don't get to have this time with my wife. I want to get home and find some time to get there. And so I do feel like, date nights during the season, I feel like we almost, as a density of date nights during the season is probably more than it is during the off season.
It feels like more pressure sometimes, where it's like, okay, this is our time together, so it has to like be really perfect. It has to be really good. It has to be really good. Yeah, but we do try, I feel like, to stay closer, to home. We're not driving as far. Like there's certain things that we do try to kind of, so that our time together is maximized. But it's also tired.
It is harder. We won't say I was late for sure. Yeah. Also, talk about driving. Some of our best times are in the car.
Totally.
And especially like when the kids fall asleep in the car. Makeout sessions. Kids fall asleep in the car.
That hasn't happened before. Hard hitters.
I took it upon myself to bless everyone with a segment called Cooper's Stay Hip, Stay Jive Fashion Faux Pas. It's been well documented, my disdain for black socks and for socks pulled all the way up. Specifically, black socks pulled all the way up. If you're going to pull your socks all the way up, give it a little bit of wrinkle. So I thought I'd bring another, some people call it hot take. Other people call it cold hard facts of what is, high class, trendy, whatever. Don't do this next thing. This is the fashion faux pas that I think will never be high class. Do not wear running shoes with denim pants. It has to stop, people. I can't.
This is just so in right now.
I can't.
I do this.
No, you don't do this. You do not do this.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. You don't do it like this. There's a way to do this that looks good, which is wearing not just like a standard running shoe. If you're wearing a loose fit denim, not oversized, and like a chunky shoe, that's one thing, right? That's like the people that go all the way to like, oh, I'm making fun of this look, but I'm doing it stylishly. Not making fun of.
It's just elevating. That's how it
started. That's how it started. If you do it,
the dad shoe
with a super baggy pants, or you go the opposite direction of like a sleek running shoe with like well fit pants. But it's the middle ground is the worst. If you're wearing bootcut jeans, I don't agree with that. If you're wearing bootcut jeans and running shoes, go home. Go home. If you're in your home, leave your house.
I would like to throw a disclaimer though, because I think that it's also running shoes that you're actually actively running in also. Like it's...
that is 100% issue. It's not the running shoes that you wear as a dress shoe. As like a dress-up shoe. The ones that are sitting in your closet, like, oh, those are like my, like, I'm going to go out for dinner and wear like my nice running shoes. But that goes back to the same thing. Like, you're dressing those up.
I know. I just feel like there's way too much gray area in this.
Okay. I said this is more specific. It's more specific to there's a few scenarios here. Bootcut, like I said, bootcut jeans do not belong with running shoes. It's just, don't do it. Don't wear denim shorts with running shoes. Don't wear denim.
Also, I feel like that's kind of in right now too.
I don't look at what is in doesn't matter in Cooper Kupp Stay Hip, Stay Jive fashion faux pas world.
I know.
If you're wearing denim shorts and running shoes with high socks with no wrinkle, I might explode if I see you. My head might explode. I completely blow off. So you're a walking hazard for me. I need you to stop doing it.
Again, he's joking. It's okay. We'll get through it together. I support you.
You need to help me with this because I really have a hard time. Austin, my best friend. Austin. You've done this your entire life. I haven't told you. You have to stop. It has to stop. You don't buy the Air Monarchs.
The Pete Carroll 12s.
You don't buy the Air Monarchs in 2008 and think that this is a good purchase.
They were on clearance at the Nike outlet.
I know. I've tried to be nice, and like I would deal with Nike, and I try like, hey, I'm gonna give you some money to go buy some stuff at the Nike store. The things that he's bought, I've had Nike reps call me and be like, hey, what are you doing? Is everything okay?
That's also
and I've been like, yeah, I'm sorry. I made the mistake of giving some money to a friend of mine. Please don't drop me. So just so you know, like I almost got dropped out of Nike because my friend is making terrible fashion decisions.
Thanks for tuning into the Daily Grind.
We'll see you next week.